You are listening to the Subtle Forces podcast. I am your host, Anja, not Anja, and today we are back in the basement with my brother Anton, and this time he has along with him musicians Jesse Lemont and Garrett Burton. No plans were set down, but I can tell you, as the voice of the future, what results is something of fiction and something of non-fiction. You've been traversing the sewers again. They seem to be the only place where you can really get some peace away from other people in the damp and dripping, pitch dark, unlit passageways. Birds flowing, warm steam exfoliating your face, but stenches. There are stenches, but it's worth it. Just the peace of not being anywhere near traffic, near roommates, near family, near arguments. No family, no spouses, no house plants, no needy pets, no neighbors, no waiting rooms, no people on the bus, on the freeway, in the helicopter. Away you are there in the dark, ambling, galoshes on. You are splashing through the sewer, just following the water as it rushes towards the lake. You will find it. You will find your nook deep under the city, where there used to be lakes, but now there are just tubes of water. You're like an earwig, balled up and rolling in the water. You give over to the water. You're not even swimming, you're floating in the water. It's a little unsure, but you're fine with that. You don't have control anymore. You're just getting scurried around, scuttled around. The rats pass you on the left and the right. They are running. You can hear their feet and their squeaking. But you can't go where you're going. You can't go where they're going. You can only go where you're going. But oh no. There's light. Just enough light from these red caution flashers. The first light you've seen in an hour. And illuminated in the red lights are blades of trash compactor. Yes, in the sewer there is trash. and trash scurries along like the rats like the water. But there comes a point when the trash must be pulverized into a glorp and redistributed into bricks that will later be the building blocks of many of our skyscrapers. But nobody knows this. Only you, as you discover yourself rushing forward to the blades that will go on later today. But you are not a swimmer. You're not strong enough to get yourself out of the water. You call for help, but the rats don't help you, and no one else is down here because you wanted to be somewhere away from people. And you went down here without any form of communication, no cell phone, no passenger pigeon. You're just here, en route to pulverization. You will be a smoothie of glorp. You will be an ooze in the toothpaste of this industrial city as it grows taller and taller, merging with Chicago. Your bones will be bricks. It's just a matter of time. The pendulum is swinging. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The blades go on at 6 p.m. sharp. It is 5 o'clock now. You have an hour before your reinvention from being to object. What a sorry time this is for you. You didn't expect it to end like this. Even though everyone imagines what their last meal would be if they had to get the death penalty, mine would be spaghetti and chicken soup and pizza all together, single meal. And then for dessert, I'd have a chocolate lava cake. Yeah, everyone's imagined that. Everyone can tell their answer right away. But tick-tock, those blades are coming, and you didn't realize it would end this way, and you're kind of shaken. You're about to be shaken back and forth even more until you break, and there's nothing left of you. What to do, what to do, what to do, what to do. Lots of rushing, unpleasant thoughts. Lots of rushing, unpleasant, intrusive, unhelpful thoughts in this moment. Help, 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 help. Oh, I wish I was one of those gleaming oil rats just running around so near me, squeaking so freely. They are even getting little bits of cheese pizza out of this water. They're eating it as they watch me, helpless. The rat isn't helping, but the rat, I have to say, is a fine rat. That is a good-looking rat. That rat, if you wanted to Google rat, that is the rat you would see. That is a artist rendering of a rat. Those hands, they have such humanity to them. You could almost see those hands crocheting, knitting a sweater. They look both sensitive and strong. And though you will never crochet again, you think about all the times you crocheted. Loop into loop, loop into loop, loop into loop. You made so many beautiful hats that kept you warm, that kept your loved ones warm. up the crown of your head that could have been washed a little bit more and smells a bit like what your husband calls Parmesan. Yes, you have a cheesy, yeasty smell to the crown of your head and you do not wash it enough. But in this moment, that smell is the only thing that gives you comfort. As you're jangled back and forth against the blades and back because there are waves of water created as all the rushing water rushes towards the blades that are not on, but the water keeps coming this way, and so you keep getting smashed up against these blades that will pulverize you in 40 minutes. My God. So bleak to think you have that much time left. You only know that because there's a sign that says these blades go on at 6 p.m. and you have a watch on that glows in the dark, a 90s watch that glows in the dark and is waterproof. But as you're rocked back and forth, smelling the scent of your head, clutching your hat, an idea occurs to you. This hat is made from yarn. I have teeth. This is yarn. I could unravel. I could somehow lasso myself. Maybe. If you see a podcast after this, you will know I have made it. If there is no podcast, please send word to the rest of Milwaukee, the rest of the world. Anja has been pulverized in the sewer. I'm sorry to tell you this. She's a brick. She is probably 2 to 3 bricks in the Couture building across from Discovery World. If that building's not fully built yet. There were so many possible solutions as to who to be in a cardboard box in my dormitory. This cardboard box sat next to the couch in the general area where anyone could sit, and this was anyone's box. Inside the box, good news, a pair of pants size is too big for me, but with deep pockets. 6 deep, man-sized pockets. You could get a piece of rope also in the cardboard box, and there you go. You can walk around like a hobo with a paper bagged up waistband thanks to this rope, and you could carry your whole rock collection in these pants. I got a Chinese silk hat in the free box. I got so many shirts and weird mini skirts that were more formal than I had occasion to wear, but just throw them on top of the pants like you do. There were grandmother aprons in green gingham. You could wear those over whatever you had on. And again, you are equipped with pockets. If your clothes didn't have pockets, just put on an apron. Boom, pockets. I loved that free box back in 2005, 2006. And it was in that box that I found a pair of shoes, just my size, 7.5, Kangaroo shoes, with a little pocket on the side, just large enough for a nickel, so you never have to walk through the world without a nickel. You never know when you're going to need a nickel. There were lots of trips to the flea market and the antique mall. There was that one skeevy place where there was a camera in the dressing room. You didn't know where, but every time you went in, the guy at the front counter who was smoking his 60th cigarette of the day would be like, "Why don't you put that on? We have a dressing room. You should put on some clothes. There's a dressing room over there." But he'd look at you too long while he'd say that. And he would say that more to my friends with the big boobs. "Go on to the closet, try that on." Nobody tried it on. Nobody went to the closet. We didn't trust him. But I went off my track. Actually, I did get a nice scarf from that place. I washed it, and it still smelled like cigarettes for about a year afterwards, but it became my favorite scarf, even if it came from the stinky, skeevy shop. It's a purple scarf, and I still wear it. But back to the Kangaroo shoes. That's right. It was a fateful day. I was nonetheless in a good mood. It was near the end of the semester. I was excited about life. I was excited about my project. I was excited about my parents coming to pick me up and take me back home. Even though I didn't really want to go, I was just excited about a lot of things. And I was hopping. I was hopping in my kangaroo shoes, because that's what you should do in kangaroo shoes. You hop. I galloped up and down the halls. I skipped and skipped. I was skipping down the steps, one at a time, two at a time, three at a time. And that is when my kangaroo shoe slid uncomfortably beneath me. Something about the sole was not solid. and I twisted my ankle. I let out a shriek. I'm not going to shriek into the mic, but I let out a shriek, and when that happened, I could hear someone else was in the stairwell. And this whole time, they had been walking down the stairwell. But when I shrieked, all of a sudden, I could hear them go down the stairwell faster. Not to me, but away from me. They heard someone in distress, and they didn't want to be involved. They got out of there. I was horrified by human nature at that moment. But I was in pain. I sat there in the stairwell and I began probably to cry. Crying came so easy at 18. I cried every day for some reason or other from the age of 0 to 25. It was just non-stop tears. So I just did what I always did, and I started to cry. I cried for the pain in my ankle. I cried for the sociopath who just left me to my misery in the stair. And I thought about how that person was going to go on and live a life of not helping people. They were going to get a college degree. They were going to get access to opportunities that kinder people could have. But this person was just going to go out there and do things for themselves. Eventually, some friends got me, and I wrapped my arms around their shoulders, and I just kind of hung in my dorm room, except for when I had to use the bathroom. Then the girl down the hall who had a very tall farm boyfriend from Minnesota, he would come and he'd just pick me up and deliver me to the bathroom. And it was very, well, dignity losing to get carried by someone else's strapping boyfriend. But you gotta go when you gotta go. And eventually, I remember the car ride to Osco. Or, am I saying Osco right? It was the drugstore. But what I do remember was that also in the car was Nikki from Florida. And Nikki from Florida heard my mom say the name Osco, the drugstore. The same drugstore where, well, I'll tell you in a moment, but Nikki heard my mom say Osco and she giggled because she could hear that upper Midwest, oh, Osco. And she kind of made fun of my mom on our way to the drugstore. So then I started saying bag, dragon, hey, Osco. And we got some crutches at Osco. And we bought them with our money that we had. Even though I had seen by that point so many of my fellow students shoplifting from Osco. I had seen them getting their Sharpies and their fish tights, fishnet tights, yes. They were lifting them from Osco. They were lifting them from Target. They were already spending $20,000 they didn't have a year on art school, and they felt Target and Osco owed them, not owned them. Excuse me. That was a slip of the mind. But maybe there was truth that Osco owned them and they were rejecting ownership. I never shoplifted though, because I'm not the sort of person who would run away if I heard a shriek in the stairwell behind me. I would turn around and I would go, "Are you okay?" And that person would go, "No." And I don't know what would happen next. Maybe I would black out from the blood and faint. Maybe I would run for help. But I'm not going to splint anything. I'm not going to stitch you up in the stairwell. I'm not a nurse.
Thank you to Anton, Garrett, and Jesse for improvising with me in a basement on a Monday night without any preconceived notions. And just like that, dear listener, remember, when encountering any subtle force, you have both your logic and your feelers with which to interpret it.